Well, a very good afternoon and welcome along to this week's Lite Bite Lunch. It's Thursday, the 9th of June, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have a fabulous guest joining us today. Some of you may remember when she was on the show previously. Her name is Jackie Fox, and has been a campaigner and continues to fight for knowledge to be put out there in relation to Coco's Law. Before we do kick off, I would like to warn people that some of the topics we are going to discuss today may be a trigger for some people, as we will be discussing topics like suicide and coping with suicide for those left behind afterwards. But it is something that I think we need to discuss more, and so we wanted to bring Jackie back to have a little chat about it. Now, before we actually get into chatting properly with Jackie, I just want to tell you very quickly about this. Yes, indeed, it is Micro Business Awards season again, and we're getting ready to announce the finalists in the next couple of weeks. The finals will be held on the 15th of October in the Osprey Hotel in Naas, and tickets are available now. Sales are going very, very well, and I would be saying to people, do book your tickets as soon as possible. Even if you want to book them now and pay for them in 6 or 7 weeks' time, that's fine. I just don't want people to miss out, as numbers do have to be limited. It's an evening event kicking off at about 6:30 with pre-dinner drinks and networking. This will be followed by a sumptuous gala dinner, after which we will have the presentation of the awards. We will have a couple of special guests with us on the night as well. And after the awards, we can all head back to our private bar area for some more networking and social interaction for the evening. So it is a wonderful evening. Those who've been there before, I'm sure, will tell you what a great night it is. So we look forward to seeing you all in October at the Micro Business Awards. So, Jackie, listen, thank you so much. I know how busy your schedule is, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us again today. So, if you just want to tell us, first of all, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a mum of 3 children. I have 2 boys at home, a 23-year-old and a 19-year-old. And I also had a daughter, Nicole. Nicole died by suicide at the age of 21 due to physical abuse and online abuse by her so-called friends.
Right, it's a really, really sad story. So, if we can talk a little bit about Nicole, right? How much of the bullying did you actually know about? Like, how much had she told you about the bullying or the extent of the bullying before it actually came to a head?
Everything. I knew everything from the start. And what happened, Rory, was it started off with two adults, because Nicole was 18. This didn't happen in school. It happened in a nightclub when Nicole had reached the age of 18. So it started off with 2 people who were 23. So these weren't kids; these were adults. And Nicole would come home and tell me what we were doing, and it was little things, not too much for concern, until things got worse and the group got bigger, and these 2 girls formed a hate group, if you like, against Nicole. And I found out then it was through text messages from one of the main girls, that it was just through jealousy, complete jealousy, and no other reason. And these people, as I said, they started off with little things, but then these people, they burnt her with cigarettes. They pulled her down a metal flight of stairs, till she got to the end. They pushed her so hard into a corner of the table in the nightclub, where they dislocated Nicole's hip. They used to beat her up any chance they could get. Nicole had taken an overdose in 2015, and I thought that was myself and Nicole's worst nightmare at the time. She was in hospital for 4 days. After that, she was sent to CAMS, and in CAMS, she sat in front of the main guy and cried and cried and cried her eyes out. Um, and he turned around and said that what she was going through is just a phase and it's all part of life, which can't even express how disgusted I am with that. It's not a phase that anyone should go through or part of life, of anyone's life that they should go through. And these people weren't happy with the physical abuse. They decided to go online. And I thought after Nicole took the overdose, they would back off, they would have a bit of empathy, but it actually escalated. They knew then that they were getting to her, and every day online they said the most nastiest, horrible things of hang yourself and die, and everyone hates you, no one wants you. Constantly. They also sent her videos of a noose, repeatedly on how to hang yourself, and this was constant. So with the physical abuse from her so-called friends at the start, um, and then onto the online abuse, it just got so deep into Nicole's head, that we tried everything to get her out of her room and to bring her out and try to build her up as best we could. But in the end, Nicole didn't want to die. Um, she had a happy childhood growing up. Nicole, she loved life until these people got the grips into them. But in the end, it got so bad for her that she just couldn't find a way to stay. She just couldn't find a way to stay. The pain, the threats, everything was just way too much for her.
Right. And I mean, I've no doubt that you went to the Gardaí at some point or other in relation to
Mm,
this.
I did, yeah. When we went to the guards, the physical abuse, yes, she could have made a statement because there is a law there for physical abuse. But when we went to the guards, Nicole stood there in front of the guard, and she said, and then she turned to me and she says, "Ma'am, I can't make this statement because look what they're doing to me now. Imagine the guards going to these adults' houses. They weren't kids where the guards can tell the kids off. Do you know what I mean?" She said, "Look at these going to their house." And she said, "Ma'am, imagine meeting them in the nightclub the next weekend." She said, "Ma'am, they'll kill me." And she was terrified to make a statement. And she didn't only go to the same nightclub, with the likes of WhatsApp and Snapchat and all these apps. If they want to find where she's going, they can, and they used to follow her to different nightclubs. No matter where she went, they made a fake profile page as well called Saoirse, and they said on that fake profile page that they were going to beat her up so badly and leave her on life support machine. And eventually, they got their wish.
It's just horrendous. I mean, I can't even.
Unnecessary.
I cannot even imagine. I mean, as somebody who is larger, I went through bullying in school. Now, thankfully, I have always been very thick skinned and it never overly got to me. But I honestly cannot imagine what she must have been going through. I
and
just see
and
that
just
we have
hell.
we
Mm,
have a couple of comments coming in there. Trish Ryan saying
mm.
what a heartbreaking story, and Maggie Garrity, same thing, shocking story with a love heart there. Really, it is beyond belief, and I mean more so when you tell us this was actually the behaviour of adults.
And not only adults, on one occasion, she befriended two other people that she thought were her friends, and she didn't realize that these other two were friends of the main girl. And one night, Nicole was up in the bedroom with these two girls, getting ready to go out, and the two adults as well, they were both 23. They stood behind her and they were kind of laughing and sniggering, and they said to Nicole, "Would you like me to curl your hair?" And Nicole said yes. They curled her hair, but while they laughed, they stuck the curling tongs onto Nicole's skin. Obviously, she didn't go out with them that night, but they gave her a 5-inch scar. But the reason why I'm telling you this is these two adults were mothers. They had children of their own. So we're not talking about. I hate I hate in my situation saying bullying, because bullying to me is more of a schoolyard playground word. Do you know what I mean? Nicole was tormented and tortured by adults and mothers who who know. They know, and all
I,
because of jealousy. Because it started off because the main girl couldn't get the boy she wanted, and that boy was Nicole's best friend. And the only way she could get nearer to that boy was to make friends with Nicole. But then when she realized that the boy didn't want to have anything to do with her, that's where it all started. Then they took it out on Nicole. They took her out.
to her mind, that was Nicole's fault.
Yeah, it's just, well, Nicole would have been. She was only 5 foot. She was small. She was gentle, she was kind, she's probably an easy target, if you like. They were able to take the anger out on her.
Now, I
Yeah,
know you had an extensive campaign, and it took you several years to
yeah,
get results,
yeah,
but your sheer determination, and I mean, it is very much from everything I've researched on it, it was very much your drive
yeah,
and your determination that brought about Coco's Law.
yeah.
For people who haven't heard of Coco's Law, would you just give a very brief outline as to what Coco's Law actually is?
Okay, so when Nicole died and the guards came to me, I had on the phone, I had all the evidence of everything they did, and all the videos, all the threats, everything, um, that you would think be enough to charge someone. But the guards came to me and said they did nothing wrong. I couldn't believe it when they said that. And the reason why they said that was because there was no legislation in Ireland to stop people annihilating and torturing anyone. It wasn't a criminal offence in Ireland to drag someone down. And it doesn't matter if you're vulnerable or shy, you could be the strongest person and be successful, be everything. If people want to drag you down, they were able to drag you down, whether it's to get through with your family or any way. People could drag you down, and there was no legislation, nothing to protect the strongest or the weakest, if you like. Um, the reason why I started the campaign was one, I didn't want. I said to Nicole, I'm going to make sure you're never going to be forgotten because of this unnecessary torture that they put you through. And the other reason why I campaigned was it was a reason to survive. It was a focus, it was a plan that I needed. Either do this or go with Nicole, and it was tight many times on which way I was going to go, to be honest. I decided to campaign and focus to keep me here. Um I winged it. I didn't know how to do it. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know how to do it. I ended up getting meetings in the Dáil, a protest outside Leinster House. I had a huge march through Dublin City. I campaigned and campaigned, and meeting after meeting. Um, it was the Irish people that boosted it up for me, because I shared Nicole's, I'm going to say story, and I hate saying story because she's more than a story, but I shared Nicole's story on in the newspapers, on TV, on the radio, online, and social media was great if it's used properly. And all the Irish people jumped on. They were telling me about what's happening to their kids or their auntie or their uncle, and they shared everything. And then the TDs and ministers started to listen to me. Now I started to realize that people in the Dáil were starting to use Coco's Law. And I'm like, wow, this going to happen, you know? Um, the reason why we called it Coco's Law, her name was Nicole. And when she was born, my 9-month-old nephew, he was only learning how to talk, and he couldn't say Nicole properly, and he could only call her Coco. And that's where I got the name Coco's Law, because it was our baby name, and she was my baby. She still is my baby. So yeah, campaigned and campaigned. The government broke up. Coco's Law got to stage 3. The government broke up. It went back to stage 1, and we got COVID. Everything seemed to go wrong, but I didn't care. I just kept getting back up, and eventually on the 28th of December, 2020, Coco's Law was passed through the Dáil, where it was signed into the Irish statute books, which her name's going to be there for ever and ever. No one could ever touch our name in the Irish statute books. And it was also agreed to be called Coco's Law. And it wasn't then until the 10th of February 2021 that Coco's Law was true. And now it is a criminal offence. There is a legislation now to make online bullying a criminal offence. Also in Coco's Law, which didn't associate with Nicole, but I'm delighted it's part of it. It's intimate images, where before Coco's Law was out, it was okay. Not it was okay, but it was allowed to share. People were allowed to share intimate images about people, um, and share them on social media. But now it is a criminal offence to share any intimate images whatsoever without that person's consent, whether it's on through social media or just through people. You are not allowed to share any images of
In
people
actual fact,
without.
to the best of my knowledge, they actually tightened that even further. That even with somebody's consent, you still can't share it now.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
no, that was
So you
they,
can't. Oh, okay, that's good. That's
the
well,
sharing of intimate images, full stop. That if you want to share your own personal image with somebody, that is acceptable.
yeah.
But that cannot be shared any
Shared.
further
Yeah.
with or without your consent.
Oh, well, that's
So they've
that's good.
taken it
I
one
didn't know
stage
that. That's
further, which is even
brilliant.
better, I think.
Yeah,
I know,
100%.
I know you did have a meeting with Minister Helen McEntee when she was saying that, well, actually, the Attorney General has said we're not able to call it Coco's Law.
Do you know, I felt like everything I did for that 2 years and 10 months of constantly campaigning, I just felt that everything was slipping. Um, Helen McEntee was on Facebook and she was on Messenger, and I sent her a video. I had been respectful all the way through. I never raised my voice, and I sent Helen McEntee a video of exactly how I felt. I was in tears, and I was respectful to her, but deadly serious. And I said to her, if you do that, if you take Coco's name out of the law, you are going to put the final nails in my coffin. And Rory, I meant it.
Yeah,
I made Nicole a promise that I was not going to let her name be forgotten, and that I felt then that would that I wouldn't have been able to keep my promise. Helen McEntee got in touch with me straight away. She got her secretary Patrick to ring me. We arranged a meeting. Helen McEntee was actually known as the Ice Queen that week. I don't know what she did. I can't remember, but it was all over. She was the Ice Queen. And all I could remember was, how do I go in and melt the ice cream? I didn't know how to do it. I thought I was over the line. I thought nothing could go wrong. I thought we were on the Coco's Law. Um, she also announced that week that she was pregnant. So what I did when I went into the office with two lads from March for Justice Ireland, who helped me a good bit of the way. And when I went into the office, Helen was sitting in front of me, and she had, her legal team and stuff, and it was only me and two lads, and I'm going, how am I going to get Nicole Coco's name back in? I remember bringing 4 photographs. I explained everything about what happened to Nicole. She broke down a number of times, which was good for me because I knew she was feeling it. And I brought 4 photographs in. The fourth photograph was a baby scan of Nicole, and I said, "There's where you are." I did lie to her because I didn't have a baby scan of Nicole. It was actually our brother's baby scan, but she didn't. You couldn't
absolutely.
tell. So I put the baby scan down. I said, "There's where you are," and there's where I was with Cole. The next one I put down was a photo of Nicole's christening, and I said, "You're going to have your child's christening." The next one was a photograph of Nicole in her communion dress, and she looked like a beautiful little fairy in her dress. And I said, "There's where you're going to have your child's communion." But the last photograph I put down is a photograph I've never ever seen before, or never ever want to see. And one of the lads handed it to me, and I turned my head away, and I reached over and I put the photograph in front of the others, and she looked down, and that photograph was Nicole laid out in her coffin. Sorry. And I said to her, "There's where you are in the first photograph, and there's where I am." And um the two of us just we we just stared at each other. We didn't take our eyes off each other. And also, Helen McEntee's dad took his own life previous to this due to online bullying. So she got me. She knew what it was about. And I remember the two of us just looking at each other like two weirdos. It seemed like for ages, but it wasn't. And she just nodded her head. And I just said to her, "Thank you so much." I didn't have a clue what I was thanking her for, but I knew she got me, and she did. And she was amazing, amazing what she did for Nicole. Calling the Cocos. They wanted to call it the the Harassment, Harmful Communication Related Offence Act. I mean, I talk in schools with students. They're not going to remember that. You know what I mean? Coco's Law. It's a simple, cute name that people can remember. And then, as I said, in the Irish statute books as well. And
Yeah,
I got her legacy, and it's what I wanted. I wanted to keep her name.
no,
I want
absolutely.
people to know who she is, because she mattered and she still matters.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have a
Mm,
couple more comments I just want to quickly go to there.
mm,
Johnny Gibson, the bullies are taught to be bullies by useless parents. He's actually lost two family members due to bullying, and he just wishes these bullies would try and bully him. And Monique is asking a question there. Are there actually legal consequences now if intimate images are shared without consent? And
yeah,
the answer is yes, there is indeed,
yeah.
Monique. And
At this moment, there's 28 people due up for prosecution. They've got 28 people up for prosecution for the intimate images. Um, I don't know how long that takes. I don't know all that legal stuff and the courts and dates and stuff and all. But 100%, just they're the first 28
yeah,
people to be prosecuted under Coco's Law. And I hope, Rory, I hope so much that they make these people an example, and go
absolutely
hard
willing
on them,
to.
because it will deter other people when they know, oh God, you can be charged with this, you can go to prison, or whatever the case may be. But yeah,
Yeah,
100%, the first 28 are up for prosecution.
yeah, well, that's absolutely good to hear.
Mm.
Now, as you know, Jackie, every time we bring a guest on the show, they're asked the question, what is their favourite light bite lunch? So, what are you planning for your light bite lunch today?
And I think that, yes, the older people might relate to this, or maybe it was just my family. I don't know. Um, People love pasta, right? I don't like pasta. I think it's dry and it tastes like. Well, I never taste a slug, but I can imagine it could taste like a slug. So the only way, my favorite light bite is actually pasta, but it has to be with sugar and milk. So I make the pasta, put the sugar on, and put the milk on, and that's how I eat pasta. I'm sure I'm not the only weirdo. I'm sure there is people out there that eat that, or maybe not. But if they don't eat it, try it.
Now, again, as I always tell guests, because I've had guests saying to me, oh, I can't really say what I really like to have. Why not? There's bound to
Yeah,
be somebody else out there
yeah, yeah.
who
I hope.
A, follows the same suit, or
Yeah,
B, would absolutely love to try the
yeah,
ideas. And we
yeah.
have had some wonderful, wonderful ideas
Mm,
on the show, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more to come.
mm. The last time I was on your show, you had a chef in,
Yes.
and he was talking about fancy food and all, and there's me coming up with pasta and sugar and milk.
I think that was Portugal Gallagher we had on.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's right, from the
Yeah.
Boxty House.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Mm.
So you were awarded the freedom of the city and the county. How did that come about?
Okay, so a councillor, um, should I say his name? Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, okay. Dermot Richardson from Sinn Féin. He has helped me with Coco's Law. He's actually become a good friend of mine now as well, and his partner Katrina. And he rang me one evening and said, "You're up for nomination. Like you've been nominated for freedom of the city." And I didn't know. I just said to him, "Oh, that's lovely," And I thought, do you know if you're nominated for something that there's other people in it, and then that night, I had the awards night, and that night I thought we were going to say like, you know, that there was going to be 3 or 4 people nominated, and they were going to say like, and the winner is.
Mm.
But no, it was only me that was nominated to get freedom of the sea, and I had to Google it. I'm not going to lie, and it is the highest honorary award that you can. And you know what? It was beautiful because just to be recognised for the work that I've done, but more importantly as well, just for Nicole to be not forgotten. You know, it's another thing that not forgotten. But it was a great night, and the Lord Mayor was presented with a big certificate in a frame, and a lovely glass, crystal glass. Plate as well with writing on it saying, you know, freedom of the county. You
Yeah.
know, it was a beautiful night. And at the end, Dermot Richardson, he brought a load of purple balloons. So at the very end, we all went outside and set off balloons in honor of Nicole. So it joined in with my night and Nicole's night, which was
Absolutely.
emotional but important to me. Yeah. Mm.
Now, time is very quickly getting away from us. So,
Yeah.
what I want to do, I know you have an email there that you have been
Mm.
given permission to share
Mm-hmm.
that I think it's important for people to hear. So, if you just want to give us, before you read the email, just give
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit of the context, who it's from, what it's in relation to, etc.
Okay, so it's from the Department of Education, and it's in relation to school bullying. Now, as I said, that didn't relate to Nicole, but I do a lot of talks in schools and outreach and colleges and stuff, and also, but this is more in relation. No, not more. It hopefully it's aimed more at primary schools, and it's from the Department of Education, and the Department of Education has commenced work to review an action plan on bullying and anti-bullying procedures. A public consultation will be formed where written submissions can be made online on an online questionnaire that can be completed. The consultation process will be open online on the 26th of May 2022 until the 21st of June. School staff, parents, and students can participate. And the link that you go on to is www.gov.ie/schools anti-bullying plan review. So what that means is, you know, it's giving the parents and the schools and students a chance to participate in this questionnaire for them to have a look at it. Will it take long? Probably. It should. Hopefully, it doesn't, because action needs to be taken now. A lot of bullying is in fourth, fifth, and sixth, and it gets carried on to
Secondary.
and when in secondary, and you know, the bullies are learning more about themselves, more drama is created. They're on social media, which is a big part
I
of
mean,
bullying.
by the time they're hitting secondary school, a
It's too
large part
late.
of the damage is already done.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. And a lot of schools, and I'm not saying all schools, a lot of schools would rather sweep it under the carpet than to deal with it, or the person, the victim that's getting bullied, take them out of school and put them into a different school. That's not the answer. That should
A-
never be the answer.
Absolutely. Tell
Mm,
me, as I said, we're almost out of time, unfortunately.
mm.
If people want to contact you to book one of your talks, what
Yeah.
is the best way to do it?
Okay, so email me. Shall I give me email, or are you going
Yes,
to pull it up?
no, go ahead.
Okay, so my email is Jackie Fenlon, Fenlon @gmail.com. Also, you can send me a message through. I have a page, Let's Bring in Coco's Law. That was the page when I was campaigning. You can message me through Let's Bring in Coco's Law on Facebook as well. And I'm also on WhatsApp on and Facebook as well. You can message me through Messenger on Facebook, and you just have to look up Jackie Fox, and you'll see.
Right. Well, listen, Jackie, thank you so much for your time today. As I said, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
how busy you've been, and I know we've had a lot of done a lot of work trying to find scheduling.
Yeah.
And just one final comment from Maggie before we go there. Well done on your fantastic achievements. Your daughter would be very proud.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So that rounds up the Light Bite Lunch for today. We will be back in 2 weeks' time when we will be joined by Pascal Derran from the Irish Migraine Association discussing all things to do with migraine. If you have any questions for Pascal and you want to drop us an email, you can email us at any time at lightbitelunch@gmail.com or contact us through any of our social media channels. And until then, we'll wish you all a very good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much.